Hello, I am Jessie and welcome to Stats Magic. I wanted to do a little bit of an introduction to what this is. What am I doing here? What is this even all about? And honestly, most of the time, I don't even know. Very clearly, and I'm sure you're going to get this really soon, this is an opportunity for me to get better at illustrating. Maybe if I just start doing it, I will be motivated to learn something new. Anyway, back to it. What I do know is that everywhere I turn, in every situation, stats and numbers seem to have an aura about it. Most of the time, out there in the world, people will venerate it. People will treat it like it's the absolute truth, because numbers don't lie. Think. Crime rates are up 50%. This city's going to hell. Well, yeah, sure. But 2 to 3 is an increase of 50%. But is it meaningful? My mom used to always talk about the divorce rates. She would say, 1 in 3 people get divorced. So here's 3 couples. Now my mom would say, it's probably the pink couple, because they're not even holding hands. Now me and 2 of my cousins all got married within the same year. And my mom was pretty sure that because 1 in 3 people get divorced, at least one of us was going to get divorced. I have spoken to a surprising number of people on planes. Yes, this kind of plane. Not the great planes, but an airplane. Every time I fly, I am very sure that this plane is going to go down. Burning fireball. I can think of all of the reasons why this would make sense. I'm flying by myself and I left my family at home, or all of my family is with me, or half of my family is there. All of these reasons line up in my head to, this is it, the plane's going down. And pretty reliably, people will tell me things like, statistically, you're way more likely to die in a car crash. Well, that's maybe true, but I don't know if that should make me feel better about flying or worse about driving. It's just so common that these types of numbers are accepted as truth. Until suddenly, there are no amount of numbers that will be enough to convince somebody of something. Think vaccines. Yes, I know, I'm a terrible drawer. Let me try again. That's not better. There, now you get the point. Vaccines. Vaccines are safe. But, anecdotes! I know someone whose aunt is permanently disabled after a vaccine. And there are no amount of numbers that will be enough to change somebody's mind after they've heard something like that. Billions? Billions of people were fine after the vaccine? No, but that one person's aunt spoils the whole pot. There's a real conflict between this idea that billions of people is not enough evidence to show that a vaccine is safe. But definitely 1 in 3 people are going to be divorced. Definitely airplanes are not as dangerous as cars. In academics, here's my impression of the ivory tower. And there are all these people in there who use and read about and learn about stats all the time. Research is founded in statistics. And yet even here, it is poorly understood, and in most cases, it strikes fear straight into the heart. The commonality that exists between these academics who are terrified of anything to do with statistics, my mother who believes that 1 in 3 people are literally going to be divorced, people who think that the city is going to hell because crime went from 2 to 3, the people I chat to on airplanes, and anti-vaxxers, is a general misunderstanding, not of life in general, but of statistics, of numbers, and about what these numbers mean. I often talk about this issue as though there are 2 different groups that exist. Here we have 2 people who are standing on nice grassy knolls that are separated from each other by a big chasm. On the one side, we have people who love the numbers. They understand the numbers. Statistics, no problem. And on the other side, we have people who just don't. Both are fine. Both are perfectly lovely people. But in between is this space. It is a gap for those that like numbers, that understand the numbers, that understand the way statistics works. They can't understand how somebody wouldn't understand that. And for those who don't understand statistics and numbers, they can't understand how somebody does. Again, perfectly fine. These are perfectly wonderful people. So how can this be, and what can we do about it? I like to think that I exist in this space in between. Perhaps obviously, if I'm being honest, I'm more closely related to this one that understands the numbers and the statistics. But I also try really hard to understand how you can be here and to figure out how we could start to build a bridge. And maybe neither person in this picture is going to cross the bridge, but at least they'll be able to see it and recognize how to get from one place to the other. My goal with Stats Magic is to talk about experiences, to talk about stories, anecdotes, examples, to illustrate some of the differences between understanding numbers and not understanding the numbers, to explain why things are the way that they are, and why it is just a little bit magical. Not everything needs to have an explanation, and there are a lot of times when we use statistics and numbers to try to explain something, but it does not capture the whole story. Magic exists, and stats is part of it. And that's it. I am going to work through examples, explanations, anecdotes, and proof of magic, all in nice little bite-sized nuggets. So I hope you enjoy.